there is not enough houses.
This is a supply and demand problem in New South Wales, and we are not doing enough.
And then we realised how many of us were vying for that one block.
The best way to ensure that more Australians have a safe and affordable place to call home is to boost housing supply.
The $3 billion plan to build 200,000 new homes by June 2029.
All of these are about one thing, supply. The catch, it takes time, and we don't have time.
Supply, supply, supply. Seemingly everyone suddenly agrees that more building is the best way to deal with Sydney's housing affordability crisis for home hunters and renters. Problem is, trying to create places to live in this city can feel like a battle of attrition. Developer Matthew Hyder's Western Sydney project for more than 1,700 houses was chosen by council to be accelerated in 2017. Yet today, it is still a home for horses. People may live there before 2026. The mere rezoning of Orchard Hills North took 5 years and 3 months instead of as little as 2.
Historically, it might have taken 3 or 4 years to get a rezoning. Now we're seeing that be more like 4 and 5 and 5.5 years. And the cost to do so are much greater, and the risk and challenges continue to mount.
Mr. Hyder has also developed in the US and says it's poles apart.
What you see in the US is a process that's far shorter, much less expensive, and in the end is much easier to run with council, which results in more housing being available.
Chris and Emma McCoothie of Glenmore Park are interested in buying land at nearby Orchard Hills North to build what would be their first home. Mr. McCoothie, who is an architect, said another development in the area has also been very slow to come on the market.
I think there's just not enough supply. Being here in Glenmore Park, I think we've seen land which we've known it wants to be developed. But it's taken how many years? 4, 5 years for it to get into the market. So you wonder for 5 years what are people meant to do? The population is not stagnant. Things are still moving. If you had an idea of looking for land then, you just have to wait.
New South Wales recently signed on to a national housing accord incentivising the state to create conditions for 75,000 new homes a year. But nothing like that has been built in recent times. Premier Chris Minns is vowing to slash red tape and fight NIMBYism to deliver more places to live.
So despite the fact that we've got the highest housing prices, we've got the largest increase in rents, we've got the biggest population, we've got the largest number of inbound immigrants over the next 2 years, we're last on the eastern seaboard when it comes to completions, and we've got to get that up.
In an exclusive interview with the Daily Telegraph, the Premier revealed he believed one key way to increase supply was through the mass rollout of near-identical 3 to 4 storey apartment blocks. He wants to remake inner and middle ring suburbs, drawing inspiration from what was done in Paris in the mid-1800s.
Looking at a street full of terrace houses or Haussmann-era Paris streets or boulevards is attractive on the eye. People like living in those communities. There's no reason why we can't do it. And having that kind of variation in a new street or an existing street often isn't pleasing to the eye, and the community often don't like it. It's a bit like looking at a face full of cracked teeth.
Mr. Minns knows not everyone is going to love his cookie-cutter apartment block idea, but he does hope that about 50% of people will support his French Revolution.
The other half we're not going to get close to. They'll refuse to support any kind of encroachment on their built environment. Their suburbs won't change. It's just a resolute no, and I'm not going to let them hijack the entire process.
Chris Minns is declaring war on NIMBYism to pursue a Parisian vision and greater density. But that's not for everyone. Arguably, more needs to be done for developers like Matthew Hyder so that people such as the McCoothies can pursue their dreams as well.
Sydney's rental market has gone from bad to worse.
Am I being gaslit by New South Wales right now?
I really love Sydney, but I can't afford it.